This might be the last video of the day, until the inevitable post-game video for when the Vancouver Canucks play off against the Minnesota Wild, but I wanted to make one more commentary about today's NHL trade deadline. Because, I'm kind of busy. My voice is a little bit tired. We've been making video after video after video about all these trades. We made 2 Rantanen videos, we made a Josh Norris and Dylan Cousins video, we talked about Scott Laughton, we talked about Mittelstadt, Joe Veleno, even Shea Weber got traded, and Fabian Zetterlund, Brandon Carlo. Lots and lots of trade videos today. But this video, it's not even going to be about trades. It's going to be about nothing. Because PATRIK ALLVIN, on this day, did nothing. It's funny. We were talking the talk all season long, us Vancouver fans, talking about, the Vancouver Canucks are sending Nils Åman and Lekaramaki and Baines and Brannstrom up and down from the NHL to the AHL to the NHL to the AHL. They were doing all this so they could accrue cap space. Vancouver was doing so much, so many extra transactions every single day to get extra cap. And for what? You can't use the extra cap space you accrue from sending guys up and down and 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 up and down throughout the year. You can't use that cap space next year. You could use it this year. But now they don't have it. They didn't do anything. PATRIK ALLVIN didn't make a single trade today. No Boeser move. No Suter move. Boeser's still here. Now he's going to play off against Minnesota. The guy's unsigned. Suter, unsigned. Let's go out there and read some tweets, shall we? Let's talk about the Vancouver Canucks because they didn't make any moves today, and this is going to be the quote-unquote excuse. PATRIK ALLVIN says that if he told people what he was offered for Brock Boeser, they wouldn't believe it. He says the value wasn't there. ALLVIN was pressed by Farhan Lalji about what he could have got in a trade for Boeser. Was there really no interest in him, Farhan said? ALLVIN says, if I told you what I was offered for Brock Boeser, I think I would have to run out of here because you would not believe me. Is that damage control? I don't know. You see, all week we were led to believe that Brock Boeser was more of a secondary trade chip, and that was something that we had talked about yesterday and 2 days ago, etc. Teams aren't really interested in Boeser as much as they were Brock Nelson or Mikko Rantanen or somebody, and when those trades went down, we already knew Rantanen was getting traded yesterday. Brock Nelson got traded yesterday. When those trades went down, I was kind of thinking, okay, those guys are gone off the market. We assume Rantanen's going to go to Dallas. Now it's Brock Boeser's turn, right? Now it's Rickard Rakell's turn, right? Now it's Brad Marchand's turn. Marchand actually did get traded. Whoop-de-doo. But Brock Boeser was the next guy in line. And it's very apparent here that according to what PATRIK ALLVIN is saying, again, assuming this is 100% truthful, it just seems like teams didn't care about Brock enough to get him. Now, you have the right to go out there and not believe PATRIK ALLVIN. It's not the first time the guy has been dishonest with the media. That's kind of his job, after all. Don't let the media in on what you're doing, thus not revealing your cards to any other teams that you're negotiating with, etc., etc. But this comment's a pretty big one. If I told you what I was offered for Brock Boeser, I think I would have to run out of here because you would not believe me. PATRIK ALLVIN said this as well. The biggest reason I felt we didn't do any moves here today is that there was not a whole lot of market return for our players, unfortunately, says ALLVIN. Does this not essentially confirm that the Vancouver Canucks were in a selling position? Not that anybody is surprised about that. We all read the tea leaves. We all can look at Puckpedia. We all know whose contracts are expiring and whose aren't. We know this. We knew this. But for PATRIK ALLVIN to go out there and say, people weren't really offering us anything for our guys. Firstly, what does that say about Brock Boeser and his quality of play this season? Secondly, how is he going to respond to that? He's still a Canuck. And thirdly, he's just going to walk in free agency now, isn't he? It's Dan Hamhuis all over again. All over again. We are seeing memes about this Vancouver Canucks management comparing it to Jim Benning and how they ran out of time with Toffoli, etc., etc. I will say, at the very least, this excuse is a little better than we ran out of time. Right? Just a tad better. Not by much, but just a tad. Because learning, we ran out of time to sign Tyler Toffoli 5 years ago, that was like, okay, what are you doing as an NHL GM then? That is terrible asset management. At least here, it's like, hey, we tried, but no one's giving us what we want, so we're not going to make a move because we're not going to sell for less than what we evaluate these players as, which in a way is respectable. It's just very difficult to believe that no NHL team was offering anything for Brock Boeser in a seller's market like this. Like, Yanni Gordon-Bjorkstrand, they got firsts. Mikko Rantanen is about to be traded for 2 firsts, Stankoven and 2/3. Marchand, we don't know what he got yet, but still, like, there are so many players on the market that got hauls. Brandon Carlo, right-handed D-man, got a really good prospect and a first for Boston. You can't tell me there was nothing for Brock Boeser? Nothing? Oh man, I don't know if I want to believe Patrik Allvin here. This is what Wyatt Arndt went out there and said. Allvin, when asked if they could learn to market their players better in terms of trade values, I think nowadays you've got so many resources, analytics, scouts. End of the day, the player's performance dictates the outcome of their situation. What in the hell? Is this essentially Patrik Allvin saying, yeah, Boeser's not good enough to get traded? Boeser's not good enough for teams to go out there and want him. If so, then what about Pius Suter? I mean, that guy's really cheap. That guy could get 20 goals this year. That guy's having a career year. He's really good. You saying no team was going out there and asking for him? Whether it's rightfully deserved or not, Tocchet and Allvin have criticized the play of some Canucks publicly. They've also maintained some players aren't injured, and it's their performance that's the issue. The question was a good one. They do need to learn what to say publicly. The question was spot on. It was the answer that amused me. He actually joked about how it's the media's job to market the players in a season in which management pulled back the curtain on a bunch of players' dirty laundry. I mean, is he wrong? How can a GM advertise a player better and get some for them when they're crapping the bed? The analytics, the scouts, and the media all back it up. Your job as a GM is to market your players in every way possible. Inflate the value, sell high, that's part of the gig. To say on-ice performance is all that matters is absolutely bananas. I do think that Patrik Allvin is somewhat to blame here, since it was very documented, much to the delight of Canucks fans. It was very well documented that Allvin was not happy with the way a lot of these guys played. Hey, Brock, you scored 40 goals last year? Fantastic, but you could have had 50. Now we're daring you. Do it again. And then he doesn't. Elias Pettersson. Allvin goes out there on Sportsnet 650, talks about Pettersson struggling. He needs to improve his preparation and stuff. Very public discourse with JT Miller. Oh, they still were able to trade him away. In a pretty good trade, I'd say. But a lot of these players were not really done any favors by Vancouver management in the public eye, which may or may not have contributed to whether or not teams would have been interested in them in the first place. Nothing that emerged made sense for the club. Thomas Drance goes out there and says, nothing that the Vancouver Canucks were offered made sense. Re-sign Boeser then, Ian says. The highest seller's market in recent memory. We're going to get stuck with a liability at 11.6, lose Boeser for nothing or pay him far too much money, lose Suter or grossly overpay as well. Absolutely disgusting as a fan to see nothing in motion. Completely and utterly speechless. Being calm in the situation is the best thing they could do, Deceased says, so we'll go out there and see what happens. I'm not really all too optimistic about any sort of significant trade happening for Vancouver at the trade deadline, draft period, whatever. I mean, well, trade deadline's already passed. Kind of a stupid comment for me to make. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Vancouver not doing anything, and Patrik Allvin justifying it by saying that nothing really enticed them and nothing really made sense. Does that make sense? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Canucks' inactivity on trade deadline day. I gotta go take a nap because, man, I've been making a lot of videos today, baby. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.